Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play No Man's Sky Permadeath Edition. I'm your host, Colors Fade. It's episode 83. I'm on this space station. We're about to go embark on more black hole navigation, but I wanted to first check their stores to see what might be available. And these people have ferrite dust and oxygen, which could be two potentially important things for this trip, so I'm going to write this down. The Koskajal system. I don't know how you actually pronounce that. But they have ferrite dust and oxygen. And what else do they have in this system? Ionized cobalt, which we don't need, and chlorine, which I don't care about. So, oh, and there's one of those freighters I was trying to find earlier that has the wings, except this has the double engine on the side, which isn't my favorite one. I like the other one better. This is a B-46 though. Look at it. Oh my goodness, it's a thing of beauty. I always wanted those wings with these spinning helicopter type things on it. This is the freighter that I really wanted, but the one I ended up getting was, that's the hauler I really wanted. I'm using the wrong word. That's the hauler I wanted when I was doing the hauler farming missions a while ago. Or, there's not missions, there were self-directed missions, I guess is the best way to put it. And, but I found the one that I found, at any rate, ended up being awesome, so no big deal. We're 306,000 light years from the galactic core. We're better than halfway now. And really, the progress that we'll be able to make this episode is going to be completely dependent on how my materials hold out in relationship to my ship breaking down every time I go through a black hole. Because that is the game. It's nice that the black holes at least always take you closer to the center, even if they spit you over to the other side of the galaxy. Can you imagine if you were 100,000 light years away from the center and took a black hole and it spit you out 600,000 light years away and you couldn't get back? You'd probably be a little more than frustrated at that. And I believe that's how the game operated at launch. I'm not 100% correct about that. Certain about that, I mean, but that was, I think that might have been how it actually worked. I would like to see a wider random range of jumps. Obviously you can jump 1,000,000 light years across the galaxy, but I would like to see a wider range as far as getting you closer to the center. Right now it seems like the maximum closeness that you can achieve is about 10,000 light years, which is hardly anything. I'm right there. Wait a minute. So there's a black hole there? Oh, there is. Dory. Maybe not entirely awake for this whole thing here. Fleet arrived in the Iziz, whatever the name of that system was. My pronunciation of words is absolutely horrible. And I do apologize for that. Absolutely positively one of the worst people at trying to figure out how to pronounce something. Black hole. But I like making progress like this. So the question I'll pose to the diehards who now we're 80 some episodes, 83 episodes into this series, and you're still watching, which kind of blows my mind a little bit. Beyond has been updated, and I've either continued to play this game or I've started a new one with Beyond. I don't know. I think what I'm going to do, I feel like it's really a function of how broken the game is if I don't start a new one. But is there anything you haven't seen in this video series that you really want to see? I know for myself, the one thing that I would kind of like to see is underwater base building. I have yet to do any of it. I'm kind of excited at the prospect of it. I would like to find a good planet and a good location to do it. And one of the things that I'm really hoping happens with Beyond... I'm really hoping that with Beyond, what happens is they've talked about rescaling things because of VR, because some proportions didn't make sense. I'm really hoping that mountains get taller, and especially on bigger planets. And I'm really hoping that oceans get deeper on the ones that have a lot of water on them, because I would really like to do some serious Jacques Cousteau. And I would like to see the underwater quest reworked a little bit. It could certainly be improved. That's out of jump range, of course. Because the nearest black hole looks like it's a little ways off, so we should probably repair all of these. Now, let's see. Now if we can find it. Toward the galactic center, is there a black hole that we can get to? 670 light years away there is. But speaking of the underwater stuff, in my other Permadeath playthrough that's not on YouTube, it's the one I go to when I don't have time to make a video, and I don't want to get my microphone out, and I don't want to get my recorder all set up, and I just want to play No Man's Sky for a little bit. In that game, I did the underwater quest line, and I found it really lacking in logic, and also it just wasn't very good. I would have really liked to have seen it actually involve base building. Instead, it was just continually flying with my ship back to the same spot. Which was really annoying. You had to build the underwater exocraft and then build a scanner for it. And then you had to scan to find a wreck. Well, it was always so far away that underwater travel time would have taken you like an hour to get to it. So I would get out and hop in my ship and go fly to it, and then it would want you to go back to the underwater exocraft and scan again. And I would have much rather if it would have had directed you to build a base in a specific location, and then all the quest points would have been close enough by that underwater exocraft would have made sense to use. But it didn't work out that way. So it was all a little disappointing. So that seemed like it needed to be tweaked a little bit, that underwater quest line that emerges from the game. But more than that, I just really want to see some deep oceans. Because that's the one thing about the game and its planets, is that the mountains on planets that are mountainous are never particularly big, and the oceans never seem to be particularly deep. And it would be really cool if there were some really large underwater creatures. And in order to have really large underwater creatures, you need room for them to roam. 260,000 light years. We're creeping up on this thing, which makes me wonder how much time it would actually take to reach the center now, especially if I can just keep going at this kind of a pace. It would be incredibly helpful. This game really feels like a game that, with the right kind of tweaks, could just be something really special. It's obviously fun. I'm playing it a lot. I'm not saying it's not fun. But it feels like it could be so much better if they would just tweak a few things. Particularly space combat, but also just combat in general. And I understand it's Minecraft in space, and combat definitely isn't the central focus of the game, for sure. This is a game that I think Minecraft is the best contemporary comparison for it. It's about exploration. It's about exploration and base building. It's about seeing new things and discovering new things, and it's really a game that feeds off of its own novelty. That's a huge reason to play it, is to say, oh, I've never seen something like this done before, and now for the first time in a video game, you're going to see it. Hyperdrive has no fuel. So there is that novel. Hyperdrive does too have fuel. Had a little bit of fuel. Close one over here. Well, out of jump range because I don't have enough parts fixed. Okay. But I personally would like to see the combat improved, and I'm not talking about making it Call of Duty in space or anything like that. It certainly doesn't need to go that far, There's no reason to lose the core of what this game is, and I'm not advocating for better space and ground combat for player versus player or anything like that. I'm actually not a player versus player fan at all in video games. And that's probably why I also have yet to play a single battle royale game, because I'm not entertained by that stuff. That kind of gameplay doesn't inspire me at all. Where I got my love and joy of multiplayer gaming was from EverQuest, and it wasn't from player versus player, it was from the cooperative play, which I just absolutely adored. Can I get to one of these farther ones? Yeah. Actually, I should have looked and seen if that was actually in the same direction as the Galactic Center. But getting back to my point, I really like multiplayer cooperative stuff, which is why I'm kind of excited about what's coming in beyond as far as the multiplayer aspect of it. I've been playing this Permadeath playthrough for YouTube with the option for people to join my game shut off, because I don't want some guy deciding to grief me and ruin the video series. But the multiplayer aspects that they're adding, and the idea that we can do quests together and stuff would be great. I just want to see it kind of matter. That was the risk versus reward of multiplayer gaming in EverQuest and EverQuest 2 later on, which was a fabulous improvement on the on the game, in my opinion. And I can ramble on about that for days. But the neat part about the multiplayer part was I loved the whole risk versus reward. I loved big, challenging encounters. Raids were fun. Group content was even more fun. I loved it when you needed to have a great group of people to achieve, to beat some difficult challenge. That's also why I got hooked on Anthem when it first came out, but unfortunately it didn't really provide much of that kind of content. Hopefully that, not to get off track here, talking about EverQuest too much, but I've heard that the Cataclysm that just released finally for Anthem, I've heard that the Cataclysm actually requires people to really work together. And so a friend of mine posted on a message board that when it came to Anthem's Cataclysm, this was not something you wanted to do with a casual group of people. You wanted to have a good group of friends, and you wanted to use Discord for communication. And I was like, brilliant, that's what I've been waiting for with Anthem. So I'm actually kind of excited to try and hop back into Anthem maybe this weekend a little bit and see if it lives up to the hype. But getting back to EverQuest and the whole idea of cooperative gameplay, that is a part of the Beyond update that I think has the potential to be exciting. And unfortunately, what concerns me is that quests in this game are more or less really shallow. And not that that takes away from the gameplay, but I don't do the quests and I don't do the missions because they're interesting. I do them because they provide me with something. I do missions because I want the nanites, because I want to upgrade my ship. I don't do the missions because they're fun, you know. And you can see that, you notice that as I'm trading and I'm going from system to system, I'm skipping a lot of the different missions because some of them are too involved for the reward that's presented. So if there's an area where this game could really improve a lot, it would be in the different types of missions that people could do together now that they're going to up the player count to 32. And I think it would be really neat to have some really more challenging content that require the players to work together. And just as an example of something that would be really, really neat in my mind, as soon as I make this next warp, I want to talk about this because this idea has popped in my head and I feel like it's a substantially cool idea. All of these freighters and frigates just warp into systems and then sit there and wait for you to come buy their frigates off them. They don't do anything, and I think it would be really neat to get a mission from the Nexus hub in multiplayer and have it say there's some colossal ship, some enemy ship, some new faction in the galaxy that's wreaking terror on things, and they have ships that are 5 or 6 times as big as a freighter, and they have freighters with them and frigates and this big huge fleet of aggressive ships and starfighters, and you and your friends need to get your frigates and your starships in there, and you need to destroy them in just one great big giant massive battle. That's the kind of the multiplayer mission that would get me excited about playing the game in multiplayer. I'd be like, I'm going to the Nexus, I'm going to round up some of my friends, and we are totally going to rock this mission. And, you know, I don't even know what kind of rewards would be acceptable for that, but just the thought of being able to do it would be exciting to me. I think this is one of those kinds of games where the rewards for doing an individual thing aren't necessarily the driving force. They are for me. I do all the trading because I want to earn the money, because I want bigger and better ships. I'm driven by carrots, but I think other players are quite often just driven by the idea that it would be cool to do X, Y, and Z. And for me, having a gigantic freighter on freighter battle with all of us in our exotics or fighters, maxed out weapons and stuff, would be really exciting. And that brings me back to the idea of ship roles and specialties. I would really like to see ships have specialized roles. And I know I've said this in previous episodes. You guys are probably tired of hearing me say it, but I think it's a really important aspect of the game that the ship roles mean something. And it would be really cool if a fighter, for instance, could allow certain types of weapons and certain type of weapon upgrades on it that other ships could not, which would make it so that if you wanted to do one of these massive war kind of missions, then you'd be thinking, well, I really need a fighter for it, because a hauler is just totally unequipped, and maybe even going and taking a hauler, you would get your ass kicked and die and all that kind of stuff, and you think, oh, I need the right ship for the job, or I need an exotic, you know. And it would be neat if exotics could have some really fancy weapons on them that no other ship really could. I like the idea of uniqueness, and I like the idea of role, having the right role for the job. For instance, you saw how excited I got once I grabbed the right kind of hauler, and then how quickly I was able to make money with it. I went from 7 million to 50 million in like a blink of an eye, because it's designed to do that. With a fully upgraded exosuit and a gigantic hauler like that, you're grabbing all the tier 1, 2, 3, and sometimes 4 goods off of a trade station, and you can quickly ramp up your money. Which brings me to another point, which is if I somehow manage to get close to the center of the galaxy before Beyond drops, what I would very much like to do is take my hauler and out of jump range. Okay, I'd like to take my hauler and earn about 130 million credits and try to find another freighter, an A-class or S-class freighter with a ton of storage space. Alright, my friend. We're at 187. Wow, so there's some progress. That seems pretty substantial. It seems like we're getting closer, doesn't it? I like all of this. But I just see a lot of potential in this game, and it seems like they're taking the baby steps that are necessary. You know, they're taking the baby steps necessary to put the game in a position where the next updates after Beyond can be used to address some of the challenge and complexity and combat of the game. Because obviously VR and obviously expanding multiplayer are two huge things that needed to be done. But now the next update that comes after, you could be saying, well, we're going to focus on giant ship battles, and we're going to focus on making combat more diverse and making ship roles matter more, and making it so that there's a reason for you to have 6 ships in your freighter, and it's because each one serves a purpose. And it also reminds me, we haven't heard anything in Beyond about features that might fix some of the more annoying parts of the game, and one of those is the ability to sell off ships or just completely scrap them for materials. Because once you get 6 ships in your freighter, you're stuck, and the only way you can get a new one is to swap one. I'd love it if we said after a while, well, I don't really want this ship, and I just want to scrap it for parts and free up a slot in case I ever just want to buy a ship outright. And the reason for that just makes too much sense. because as you keep playing the game and you keep making money, eventually you're sitting there like some players I've seen have like 3 billion credits, and they're giving money away to new players and things like that. And I'm thinking, man, if you're sitting on, for instance, like 500 million credits, and you see this fantastical S-Class freighter, and you don't already, I mean, you find this fantastical S-Class hauler like I did the other day, and you're thinking, I don't want to trade anything for it. I just want to buy it, and I have an extra slot for it. I just want to buy it. But if you already have 6 ships, you have to trade something. So I would like to see the ability to just outright sell a ship or scrap it. And that includes frigates. I don't know how you get rid of frigates at all. It doesn't seem like you can. And that seems like a serious shortfall in the game. So look at this line right here. What is this line? What is this? Does that mean a player has already been to this system before? Region Lewiston, economy, conflict level, enemy. I'm going to go to this system because I want to see if somebody else has already discovered it. I want to see if that's what that line means. I'm going to take a little detour here and zip into a system that I haven't been to before. 3 planets got belligerent. And what's it say about this place? Nope. Wow, it discovered by me, so I don't know what that lane means. I don't know what that means at all. What do those lines mean? Maybe somebody will want to tell me in the comments what those lines mean. Cannot warp, hyperdrive has no fuel. Okay. Well, we have the ability to make it. So I'm going to make 2 sets of this stuff. Missing components. What am I missing? You need 22 ferrite dust. Oh. Well, in that case... In that case, we're going to have to stop and get some ferrite dust. I'm going to have to buy some from somewhere now. But I'm not going to do that until I run out of this hyperdrive fuel. This episode is not going to come to an end until I'm completely stuck, which is really just the loss of materials. So let's keep rolling. It seems like just an episode ago I was talking about 350,000 light years being the halfway point, and I wanted to get to the halfway point, and now we're starting to get fairly close. But yeah, frigates. How do you get rid of a frigate that you don't want? I haven't been able to figure that out yet, and I think I'm gonna have to make a query on the message board or go Google that, because it seems like that's something you should be able to do, is dump a frigate, say, oh, I don't want you anymore, and because I accidentally purchased one that's a lemon. All the technology offline. Seems like I'm having a really loud engine sound artifact going on here. I don't know if that's... oh, that one's out of jump range. Okay, we'll use the closer one. don't know if that's a bug and I need to restart the game or not. One thing I did like seeing in the Beyond trailer and later in Murray's discussion about it was a base that looked like it was underground in a cave, and a player running toward you and their mining beam goes off. And I've always wanted to build a portion of my base underground, but I've heard too many people talk about it being a problem with the way the landscape reconstitutes itself. I'm gonna fix my engines because it looks like the next one is a long way off. Galactic Center. I don't think I can get to under 100,000 light years before the end of this episode. And I say that because the end of the episode isn't going to be determined by time this time. It's going to be determined by how quickly I run out of warp cells. I'm going to have to go get some ferrite dust. And I didn't realize at the last place that I was at that I wrote down, Koskjal, that I should have bought that ferrite dust. I didn't realize I was so low. I thought I had a substantial amount. So where's the nearest one? There's one right over here. But it would be really neat to get under 100,000 to do this. I had not planned on spending any more time playing this game today. This is, as I'm recording this, it's a Saturday. And I play most of my YouTube games on Saturdays and Sundays because they give me big chunks of time to do multiple episodes in a row. Sometimes I do them late at night, and you can usually tell which episodes those are because I'm partaking of a little whiskey. So my work day is over, and I've been to the gym, and I'm tired, and I want to relax. And if I do a YouTube session, then that usually involves the whiskey. But today's a Saturday, and I had said I'm just going to spend a little bit of time trying to move myself close to the Galactic Center, and then I'm going to work on some other projects, and there are things to do around the house outside, and there are music projects that I want to work on. Of course, my icon on my channel, my little personal image is, you can see, is me playing the guitar. I am a guitar player. I love to play the guitar. It's one of my favorite things to do. I've been in a number of bands, many cover bands, 2 bands that did originals, and I've been really happy with a lot of the music that came out of those. And I have music that I'm working on right now that I'm very excited to continue writing. Well, let's fix this. It's instrumental in nature. I've always been a little apprehensive to write instrumental music, even though it comes out of me very freely and very easily. And of course, some guitar players have made complete livings off of doing that. Joe Satriani and Eric Johnson and Steve Morrison, Steve Vai, of course. Those are like the big 4. But and then more recently, contemporarily, Buckethead. And as I write this music and I record it and I listen to it, I think I can't believe there would be an audience for this. But then I watch YouTube videos of Buckethead playing with pre-recorded music, for crying out loud. All he's doing is playing the guitar parts live, and he's got lots of people watching, and he's got a huge fan base, and he's written a copious amount of music, like something ridiculous, like over 200 albums worth of music now. You know, I certainly don't have time to listen to all of that, but I've listened to some of his stuff, and I really enjoy his playing, because a lot of things he does are things that I enjoy doing on the guitar too. And so as I write this music, my focus primarily is not tricks and licks. I'm not Steve Vai. I'm not any of those guys. I'm not Joe Satriani. My focus is always on melody, because that's where I feel like I'm the strongest anyways. To give you an idea what I'm talking about in that regard, I feel like I'm some kind of combination of player between Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains and David Gilmour from Pink Floyd. That's where my personal talent lies. I like melodic solos and melodic guitar lines, and I like melody. And so when I'm writing guitar instrumental music, it's all very melodic, and it's all very melody driven, and it's all very easy to follow. It's structured just like songs normally are. I don't do anything too wacky. I just make these easy to listen to melodic pieces of music, and I keep thinking there's no audience for them, but then I watch other players and I think, no, I bet you there is. So part of today was going to be spent continuing to record and transcribe some of these ideas. I record very quickly with PreSonus, and I get the ideas out, and I get the songs constructed, and I move the parts around until it's the arrangement that I want. And sometimes I have to play certain parts like 20 times before they come out right. But then I record the whole thing, and then I kind of forget how to play them, and it's sometime later when I'm coming back to them and I want to input everything into Guitar Pro to have tablature to practice to, and to remember how to play these songs. And that part takes some time to put together. It takes some time to sit there and accurately transcribe everything that I just recorded in a flash. The recording process, when I'm inspired to write a song, can be as short as a couple hours. I get the rhythm tracks done very quickly, cut them up and arrange them the way I want, and then start recording melodic parts over the top. All the Joe Satriani guitar solo stuff, you know, that he does. I mean, Satriani is a great example of the kind of stuff that I like to write, because he's all very melodic. He's got a rhythm player with him playing all the backing stuff, and he's got a drummer and a bass player, and that's what I'd like to put together. I certainly know enough musicians now. I think I can make that happen. That noise is getting really annoying, and I am apologizing for that. And I think if I get to... I can't warp because I'm out of jump range. If I get to under 100,000 light years here, I think... And we're... As soon as I'm out of warp fuel, we're gonna end this episode. And maybe I can get that noise fixed by logging out and then logging back in. But we're making progress here. We're at 104,000, which isn't too bad. But anyways, back to my point. My point was today was going to be a little bit of game time and then a lot of music time. And as I get under 100,000 light years, I'm thinking maybe I can just get right outside the center of the galaxy today, and then work on music. I think in one more episode I could be very, very close to the center, and if that was the case, That would be pretty awesome. So there we are. We're under 100,000 light years. We're closing in. So I'm all kinds of excited about this right now. This is the episode. I don't like that noise though. Oh, at least it turned off now. Before I got to the black hole. Supercharged frame drag limiter. That's it. They give them some... I like their creativity with the names. But I don't like that noise. So, hello games, if you guys want to fix that, that'd be fantastic. So I really do think what I'm going to do is, when I run out of antimatter, well, I ran out of housing is the big deal because I need Ferratus. When the warp drive goes dry, I'm going to stop this episode. And then I'm going to try to find some ferrite dust in a very expedient way, and that might be the thing we do to actually end the episode. Is find the ferrite dust first. So that means this is going to be a really long one. You guys are getting bonus content. It's an hour-long episode, probably. The cool part is, by the time you actually see this episode, and by the time I actually get around to uploading it, because I'm on kind of a schedule, hopefully I'll have my new internet and the bandwidth will allow for a quick upload of episodes of this size. What is it with all of that noise? That is really disturbing. Alright, I don't get what's up with that, but well, we're gonna do this until we can't, which won't be too much longer. But I'm thinking as close as I'm going to be to the center of the galaxy after I end this episode, I think one more episode to get to the center will be important, or at least not quite the center. I'll discuss that after this annoying engine noise is over. So here's my thought process about this. I want to spend one more episode actually getting to the center. Getting close to the center, right outside the center. And then, once I do that, I'm going to have to spend an episode going back and claiming all of my bases. Packing up all their components. Because I think that those base reclamation things, I think that you can plant those in your freighter and pull the components off of them. Making progress. Still got some more fuel. I was at what, 188,000 to start this episode? Or was it even further than that? Might have been further than that. Made some pretty good progress. That's what you can do when you just have materials. And you don't have to keep stopping to... You don't have to keep stopping to deal with things like this. Harmonic frame drag limiter. That's funny. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. I probably need to repair. Yep, because everything's broken. Oh, and we're out of fuel anyways. Okay, so this is going to be the end of the episode right here. You're really noisy. We're going to fix that. Hyperdrive. Okay. What's this? None of that technology breaks. That's interesting. Alright, let's take a look here and see if you guys have ferrite dust. Hey, you do. What do you know? You don't have a lot of it. And by not a lot, I mean you don't have a lot. Okay, so let's see. How many do I need for this? 50. Well, in that case, I think this might be enough to get us to the center. If not, it's going to get us really close. Oh, look, it's one of those ships. What is that? It's an A31, but that's the one I like. It's got the angled... Oh, but it doesn't have the wings, does it? It's got a different set of wings on it. Okay. I still want to go back to that system someday. And find that hauler that I really like the design of, but... it's not going to happen. Those angled ones, though, those angled fuselage things, that's what I like. I just wanted the big, huge helicopter wings on it, too. Alright, black hole. Get us there. We're at 56,000 light years. Can we get there before the end of the hour? Because I really don't want to have a video that's longer than an hour. That seems excessive. Did landing on that space station kill that annoying engine noise? That would be great if it did. Yeah, it looks like we don't have to worry about weird engine noise now. Good, so the solution is to land at a space station. Well, I dig that. We are making progress. I am excited. This is going to put us really, really close. Heck yeah. That sound is all the way gone. That is great. So it can be fixed. Black hole? Anywhere? Anywhere? Bueller? Right over there. Yeah, so what'll have to happen is I'll have to make note of whatever system I'm in when I get to the center. And then head back to home base and several other places. And for all of that, I'm probably going to want my hauler to grab some extra goodies. Oh wow, that's pretty. Next black hole is out of jump range. Okay. Too many broken parts.
Component repaired. Component repaired. Component repaired.
Beep boop. $34,000 light years away. This system is orange. I know a lot of players on the message boards complain about the colors of the galaxy and they want it to be pitch black everywhere they go and blah 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 blah. They want hyper-realism, which the game is not because, oh, spoiler alert, it's a simulation. It's like a fake universe. Like all of No Man's Sky takes place inside the Atlas's code. So it's not meant to mimic our universe at all. We're gonna get to the center though. This is exciting. It's taking a long time. It's a long episode. But passing all these worlds. Look at all the trade lanes here. Ooh, there's money to be made. Maybe. Certainly are trade outposts. And now both of my engines are yellow. The top one has pretty much stayed blue the whole time, but now they're both yellow. I don't know what that means. I don't know if there's any... Oh, and they switch back to blue. I don't know if there's any significance to that. I guess not. Something in the code. Alright. Oh, and there's one over here. So on the next episode, I will try to wrap things up. And then I will flip on over to the other side. And I will grab my hauler because I've learned my lesson from doing this the first time. You want to have as many materials as possible on you, in your exosuit, on your ship, because everything is going to be old and busted. It's going to take a substantial amount of getting ready. That's the thing. I want to make sure I have enough of everything, and I can't remember every single component that I will need, but I'm not going to research it either because I just want to experience the game the same way I always do. Either my memory's enough or it's not. And if it's not, the game's going to direct me what I need to do anyways. It'd be pretty funny if it would be pretty funny if I got to the next galaxy and I died right away because I forgot some important resource and I couldn't find a cave. Hello? Hello? What the hell just happened? Hello? Black hole. Do your job. What's going on here? Okay, I just flew through the black hole. Okay, this one is not working. What system are we in? Alright, I'm gonna stop the episode here then. This is a little bizarre. Well, maybe I'm not. I got an idea. Let's just try a different system. Oh, all of my stuff's broken. Let's try one more. That's a broken black hole, though, and I don't know if it's because of the system it's in or something going on. What am I missing? Oh, I don't have any more technology upgrades. Okay, so I can really only get through one more black hole anyway. What do we have here? Can we get to this one? What system was that in? It was in the Tosuki No Noel 4 system, and it seemed to suggest that that black hole was non-functional. So everybody make a note of that. Let's see if the next black hole works. If the next black hole doesn't work, then I'd say my game is a little glitched and maybe I need to log out and log back in. So it'd be the appropriate time to end the episode. Anyways, my timer says I'm 57 minutes into this one. So, and I'm out of technology modules. We're really close, but we're not there yet, so that's alright. Oh, it didn't work either. Okay, so something with my game is going on. So I got an idea. Let's see if going to a space station solves our problem. I'm gonna go land on this space station. I'm gonna log out. I'm gonna look for components. And I'm going to come right back to this because I'm pretty excited about the idea of getting to the center. It's not that far away now, but I am a little concerned about this black hole bug. It's not... It's not, Alright, we'll buy some technology modules too. Alright folks, as always, if you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel. If you have a question or comment, drop it down below. We're almost to the center. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.